Hi guys, here is Florian. I have another Cinema 5D quick tip video for you. This time I want to show you two ways how to quickly white balance footage in DaVinci Resolve.
This Cinema 5D quick tip video is supported by Music Vine, beautifully produced music for film and video, and Hollyland, for a better view.
There are lots of reasons why footage that comes into the editing room or color grading suite is not perfectly white balanced. It's a good idea to start off with a proper white balance, good contrast and good exposure before you start your creative grade. Let me show you two techniques that I usually use to white balance my shots. We're here in the color page of DaVinci Resolve and we can clearly see that the white balance in this shot is obviously off. It's way too warm. We need to correct that. To start with, let's isolate something that should be white, like this piece of paper back there, with a power window. Make sure you cover more or less only the white of the paper, the black writing doesn't matter here. And switch on this little guy up there. It's called the mask button. So everything that's affected by the power window gets masked. And everything else is this neutral gray here. If you don't see it like that, you might want to check in Preferences, User, Color, this option here, Matte Display High Contrast Black and White. You might have this on. If you have this on, you see the mask in black and white. We don't want that, so we come to Preferences and switch that off. You want to see it like that. Look down here in the Waveform Monitor. If you don't see the Waveform Monitor, you can switch it on here and choose Waveform in this drop-down menu. In this waveform you can clearly see that the blue, the green and the red channel do not overlap. That's why we have a color cast here. There's more red in this spot than green and more green than blue. To fix that, come over here to the color wheel section and we look for, it's on the second page, yes, we look for the temperature slider or temperature setting. And if you adjust this setting, you can see the channels move in the Waveform Monitor. If you adjust it in the right direction, you will be able to overlap all those three channels. And up there you see that the paper became white. Let's switch off mask mode and switch off the power window so the node grade affects the whole image instead of only the inside of the power window. And we have a nice white balanced shot. Let's finish this off by adjusting the contrast a little bit, pulling down the blacks. Always have an eye on the waveform so you don't clip blacks down here. We're gonna push up the whites a little bit. No clipping of whites. And maybe bring down the highlights a wee bit. And dial in some contrast. So in this shot we went from something that looked like that to something that now looks like this. This second example has been shot with the Sony FS7 camera in S-Log mode, so it looks washed out and boring. I was planning to use a LUT on this shot, so I dragged the LUT on this node. And immediately we can see that again, this shot is way too warm. To fix this, we add another node. Let's add a serial node before. If you use a LUT in your grading, it's important to do all the corrections before you use the LUT in the flow. Why this is important, I have explained in another tutorial. Let's do our white balancing inside this node. This time we're going to use the curves. Make sure that all the channels are locked. So this little lock symbol here is active. And we look for a good place to pick a color. Let's choose this, the bright part of the wall here. If you look down in the curves, you can see that Resolve has added 3 points, and you can see that the red dot is higher in the graph, which means more red is present at this point than blue, because blue is lower in the graph. To fix the white balance in the spot we have picked, we click the lock so we can touch the different channels separately, and we push up the blue to about the same height as the white dot and pull down the red to about the same height as the white dot here in the middle. It's important that you don't move the points right or left, because you will introduce another color cast. It's important that you just move them up and down. Let's lock the channels again and pick a different spot. For example, here, the shadowy area of the wall. Again, unlock the channels so we can touch them separately. Red's too high, so pull it down to about the same height as the green and the white dot here, and push up blue. Let's do a third point, lock the channels and pick something in the darkness here, like in the shadow. That's more or less okay. Maybe red's a little too high, so we pull that down. Looks a bit pale now, so let's put in some color. Where is it? Saturation, there we go. Put some saturation in. And in the middle here, I think we can push red. We have a little less. Yeah, that looks about right. So we have moved from something that looked like that and created something like that. White balancing is such a fundamental skill, so you might want to put some practice and some experimentation into it. But I hope my 2 little tips will get you started. If you have comments or ideas or techniques that are even better than mine, put them in the comments and share them. Until next time, Servus from Austria.